Okay, so when we think about many decisions that we make throughout our lives, often a central component of the decision-making process is the emotional conflict that we experience while making the choice. Now, when we think about emotional conflict, there are a lot of different symptoms for emotional conflicts, like increased heart rate, body language, facial expressions, and so on. Now, when we think about it, these are observables. So it's very easy for us to spot others. It could be strangers at a store, family members, managers. Very easy for us to spot that someone is experiencing a certain amount of choice conflict. The question we ask in this research is a very straightforward yet important and understudied question, is how does observing someone else going through this emotional conflict while making a decision impact our own preferences? Will we be more or less likely to choose a similar option chosen by a conflicted versus a non-conflicted person? So what we found is that when I observe someone else going through this emotional conflict and choice, I'll be more likely to actually choose a similar option. The question is why? What we find is very interesting. We find that our immediate, instinctive reaction towards someone else's pain and agony, if you will, over a decision is to empathize with this individual. We'll start taking this person's perspective, sharing his emotional states, which leads to what is called greater connectedness or merging. So in a sense, I'll start seeing this person in a more self-like manner, okay? And this process will essentially lead me to choose a similar option. Okay? What's interesting is that we find that this tendency is much stronger for people who have a greater innate tendency to empathize with others. So for example, in one experiment, in one study, people observed someone making a certain decision, to which of two charities to donate money to. What they didn't know is that this person was actually a paid actor. One time, this person acted as if the decision is extremely conflicted and difficult, and in another condition, it wasn't very difficult. And what we find is that whenever people observe this conflicted actor, they were much more likely to donate to the charity chosen by this conflicted person. So I think there are several intriguing results. The first one is that this response to emotional conflict experienced by others is extremely innate, it's spontaneous. It will happen even if we observe a complete stranger that we do not know. Another interesting finding is that we find that this happens also when we know that the choice made by this person is completely random. So let me give you an example. So imagine I'm playing a certain game and you observe me. And the game is pretty simple. I have two doors. Behind one door, there's a huge monetary reward, let's say $1 million, okay? Behind another door, there's nothing. Now, the game is very simple. I need to open one of the doors, and whatever is behind this door, I get to keep. I'll be conflicted. I mean, I have a chance here to win $1 million. I don't know what to do. I'll probably think about it, and you'll see this conflict. Now, this conflict that you observe would not inform you about how thoughtful I am, right? There is no right decision. It's a completely random decision. Yet what we find is even in these situations where you know it's completely random, you'll be more likely to choose the same door that I chose when I experienced conflict in choice. The third intriguing result is that this effect will happen only if you believe that the conflict that I experience and exhibit is warranted to the decision at hand. If you see me conflicted about something you think is trivial, the effect would completely go away and sometimes even reverse. So going back to the doors example, let's say that behind one door there's $1 million, but now behind the second door there's $900,000. So in both cases, no matter what I choose, I'm going to make a lot of money. Now if you see me conflicted about this decision, you'll actually gravitate away from it. So first, at the most higher level, abstract level, we find that pain and conflict bring us closer. Now we can think about many situations, managers, politicians, and other situations where there are certain group dynamics, voting, jury duty, for example, where one wishes to form or build a certain consensus around a certain decision he's about to make or already made. Now, the common wisdom will be to be decisive, right? As a manager, as a politician, I need to show decisiveness. This research actually suggests that in some situations, sharing the emotional conflict that you're experiencing while making a certain decision would actually be very helpful to build consensus, as group members or the team that I'm leading would have a greater tendency to choose like I did. For example, in one study, we asked group members to cast a vote about a certain decision, real decision that involved monetary outcomes. What we found is that the voting of the group converged to the voting of the first group member if this first group member showed conflict while making the choice. So we see a very interesting group dynamics where one person is very conflicted, how others in the group would converge to the same choice. So I think that, first of all, this research suggests that when we think about social influence, how others people's behaviors and choices impact our own, this research suggests that our preferences are shaped not only by the ultimate choice that others are making, but also by the process leading to this choice. If I see an emotional conflict, then I'll converge more. So next steps in terms of this research is, first of all, to look at other decision cues, other things that happens during the decisional process that might influence the observer's preferences. We also started looking at how process cues, such as conflict, would impact not only my preferences, but also my own decision process. Will I be more likely to be conflicted when I see others conflicted or less likely, and so on? And the third part, the third investigation that we're looking at, or the research, is how we're looking at from the other opposite side. How does it make us feel when someone else sees that we're experiencing conflict in choice?